Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a park. But not just a park, this park has a playground, it has an ice cream / slushy stand, it has basketball courts, tennis courts, a football pitch, and much more, but not really, that's mostly it. This is the amount of space required to make the build. Feel free to make this grid in your world if you do feel as though it will help you out. It is a pretty sizable area. And here are all of the materials that we will need to make the build. On this occasion, we actually need 2 chests worth of materials. So this is the first chest and all of the materials that I will be starting with. And here is the second chest of materials as well. Make sure that you have access to all of these. Step 1. If you have made the grid, come all the way to the front left-hand corner of it. We are going to begin by placing a dark oak plank on this corner. Then, in the ground in front of this, we will have 3 rows of podzol. So 1, 2, 3 rows of podzol. In the ground in front of this, we want to have 2 rows of smooth stone. 1, 2. Now, in front of this, we want to have 50 rows of terracotta. That's quite a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. We then want to count that 50th block to the right by 37. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Then, we want to have a row of 2 smooth stone going right, then a further row of 2 terracotta, 1, 2, and then in the ground, we want to dig a row of 30 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. The 30th block I want you to mark out with a row of terracotta extending up from the ground. A row of 3 is fine. And whilst you're at it, feel free to dig that hole in, or rather fill that hole in, not dig that hole in, and replace it using terracotta. In addition to this, you can make the terracotta rows that we have already placed higher. Let's start off with a row of 3, but we can always modify things as we continue along. So I'll pretty much just extend every single terracotta that we placed, even the very long row, up by 3 as well. The row on the side here, you may even want it to be a tad bit taller. It depends where you end up placing your park. If you place your park next to somewhere that you kind of want to keep it separate from, you may want to elongate this fence or wall as it is, but you may also not be too concerned. Again, it all depends where it's getting placed, so it's all hypothetical. Now that we have raised up these terracotta boundaries, I want to continue on, because I want to mark out a bunch more features of the park before we get into the nitty-gritty. So, continuing digging on from the right of this terracotta that we placed here earlier, we want to dig a further 30 blocks to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Now the 30th block, once again, we can make a pillar of terracotta, and I'm going to fill in the trench that we have dug. In addition to this, we are now going to start digging backwards from the row of terracotta that we placed, and we are going to dig backwards by 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. And the 28th row we will once again make a pillar, and we will fill in the trench. Now, the next part is a bit easier because we simply just want to dig all the way back on ourselves, and we essentially want to connect all the way back to where we very first started. So, we want to join to the inward row of terracotta that we placed earlier. So, we have a row of 2 terracotta, we want to join to this corner. And we are going to fill in all of these rows, and then we will extend up the relevant? It's like an elephant. The relevant, a new species. No, we want to extend the relevant blocks upwards. So this corner here, the middle, just as we have on that opposite side, 1, 2, 3. And also we want to extend up this corner here. So 1, 2, 3, just like this, okay? So we will do more with this area later on, but that requires a whole different set of stuff. But it's nice that we have that marked out. And speaking of marked out, in addition to this, we want to make some more shapes. So, extending from the row of 50 that we placed earlier, or even so, you can even start over here, next to the wall. So on the opposite side of the wall from the tennis court, you can move 1 row inwards inside the terracotta, and then you can dig outwards, and you want to dig a row of 23 in the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. This 23rd block we want to mark out with terracotta, once again a row of 3, and then we are going to dig a further 23 in the ground. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. The corner block, the 23rd block, will once again be marked out with terracotta, but this is where things get easy because now we can just dig across in the ground. We want to dig all the way across, join to the outer boundary here, and join back to the long wall that we made earlier. So I'm going to make the outside of the basketball courts, I'm going to use cyan terracotta to mark out underneath where the terracotta or where the iron bars will be. Terracotta I'm going to place between the 2 courts. So once again, I'll just need cyan terracotta for this. And then on the corners, I will also use terracotta as I kind of have already. So terracotta for the edges, and also I'll join it together in the middle there as well. Unlike the tennis courts, we're actually keeping it a little bit separate, although I'm not sure, we might split the tennis courts up, although it's a bit of a different game, tennis. So, I mean, it involves a racket for one, or a stick with string in it, if you want to get less fancy. A racket? Whoever thought of that? Anyway, so we want to fill the edges in with cyan terracotta, as you can see here. I'm going to fill in between these in. And, I mean, we could actually... We don't need to separate these, as I'm realizing, but I feel as though that I kind of want to. But, again, personal choice. 2 basketball courts next to each other. If you want to add an iron fence in between them, feel free. If not, don't bother with the line of terracotta. Over here, we are not going to separate the tennis courts, although okay, let's start off by separating them. and then we can decide whether we want to keep it later. There's actually a fair amount of space around the actual court itself, so it wouldn't look too bad to have wire fence separating the two. So, all in all, we'll end up with something, ladies and gentlemen, that looks like this. And whilst this doesn't look like much at the moment, it's kind of a big deal, believe it or not. So now that we have filled this in, we are going to start by marking out the football pitch. So it's actually relatively easy to do, and I already have the smooth stone laid out for myself. But this is what you would do, as you do not have smooth stone laid out for yourself. But this is how you figure it out anyway. So, earlier we placed 2 smooth stone in between these terracotta walls. You would then place 2 rows of smooth stone on the outside of the tennis courts, leading all the way to the edge of the tennis court. Then, let's say that you haven't made the grid, you would proceed to extend these further 2 rows outwards by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So, extend 2 rows of smooth stone outwards across here. Now this is where the tricky bit comes in, but it's actually quite easy as well. Then, you extend the last 2 rows of the 25 across the build, right? And then you join and extend to the rows of smooth stone that we placed earlier in the ground. So that kind of marks out your soccer pitch, because all then you have to do is create a crossbar leading from the long path that you are now probably working on all the way over to the entrance to the courts. So that is how you would create the path and therefore the shape of the soccer pitch. Well, once you have completed that, it is now time for us to work on the ice cream stand area. As a matter of fact, what we will do instead is mark out the playground itself, and then we can revolve everything around it. So from the rows of smooth stone that we placed earlier connecting the podzol to this wall, we simply move in front of it, dig these out, replace them with smooth stone, and then to the right of this, we want to dig 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, replace that with smooth stone, and then a further 1, 2, 3, 4, replace the row of 4 with sand, and then on top of this 5th block, we want to place cyan terracotta. Extend the cyan terracotta to the right by 27, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. And then we want to extend that and join it to the wall that we luckily made earlier. So, just like this. We then want to double up on the row, so we want to make it 2 rows high in total, and then we want to fill it in. As you might imagine, that is quite a, quite a long process, or at least it would be if you didn't have the power of World Edit. Well, would you look at that? So now that we have created a platform for our playground to sit on, we now have to create a way to get up and down this platform as well. So we can use a mixture of grey concrete and cyan terracotta for this, but the idea is simple. We just want to make a little bit of a step here, and we can even dig into the terracotta if we want, or we could even extend it out. We just kind of want to create a little step here, and we want to take a little bit off the corner as well. So just to make it a little bit more rounded, we will just take, and this is kind of like a personal amount, like, just kind of like see what you like, but just take a little bit off of the corner of the playground area until you're happy with it. And I'm also going to replace the bottom layer with grey concrete just to make it look a little bit better. And it just looks a little bit nicer this way, a little bit more rounded. What you can even do is, a little bit later on perhaps, or using right now, we can use smooth quartz slabs. We could use oak slabs for this, just to kind of like make it so that it's easier to get up and down. So it just kind of creates a little bit of a gradient rather than just kind of like a big drop, but also very, very small, minor little detail. Anyway, the next thing that we are going to do is actually work on what I guess I'll call the playset. So the playset is going to require a bunch of colorful concrete and such. So it's going to need blue concrete, yellow concrete, red concrete. We will also need, funnily enough, also lime concrete, oak stairs, oak slabs, oak fence, and then we need a bunch of weird stuff afterwards, honestly. We'll need lime glass, and we'll need polished black stone wall, and it doesn't even end there. But let's get to building. So in the corner here, kind of where we have this little step down area, we want to, from this corner, we want to move one row inward, so here, so we literally step directly up onto this. We want a row of 5 blue concrete extending up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then a row of 7 yellow concrete extending in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blue concrete on the end, join it down to the ground. We then want the exact same thing, except leaving a gap 1 row across. So we want to place the exact same thing, leave a gap, and that is what we want to have. So further on down the line here, we want to grab oak slabs, and we want to place an oak slab here. So not at the bottom of the blue concrete, but on the second, and it wants to be placed in such a way that we can place ladders here and we can actually get up onto this. Or maybe even ladders here to make it a little bit sneakier. So we're going to extend these slabs 2 rows, and then behind this, maybe we'll extend 3, and then on top of this block we want to place an oak stair. And then above and behind this, we also want to place an oak stair as well. So I'll place an upside down oak stair behind, oak stair on top, yellow concrete to the right of the stair, and then left and right, so right of the yellow and left of the stair, we want to place blue concrete, extend it down to the ground. We then want to, behind all of this, place 1, 2, 3 rows of yellow concrete, extend the 2 middle blocks out, blue concrete in between, joining down to the ground. We then want to further extend the blue concretes up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and place oak fence in between the blue concrete. And we also want to be able to, so we don't want to place oak fence on the back here because we'll be getting up and down, so we don't kind of want anything in our way. But we're going to place red concrete on top of the blue concretes that we have, and we're going to join them together kind of in a rectangular shape like this, and then add red concrete all the way around the edge of this. So just like this, extend that rectangle out, extend the original rectangle up, and then yellow concrete to fill the top in, but above. So you can see what we're kind of building here. It's looking pretty cool already. We also want to extend a row of red concrete outwards from the blue concrete here, so where the yellow touches the blue here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Join it down to the ground. That later is going to be a swing set. Grab yourself the oak fence. We want to place oak fence extending from pretty much the same block where we have this red concrete here on the opposite side. We want to place 1, 2, 3 oak fence extending back, up, back 2, up, back 2. Perfect. Let's do this on the other side as well. 1, 2, 3, up, 1, 2, up, 1, 2. Perfect. So we are now going to join this together at the bottom. So where we have the last of the oak fence here, we want to be able to jump in between these, and you do want to be able to fall, by the way. So it kind of wants to end that way. Anyway, on the ends of the oak fence, we want to place blue concrete, yellow concrete in between the blue, extend backwards, extend the whole thing backwards. 1, 2, 3. The middle 2 blocks, extend it back, place blue concrete in between, join the blue, well, that's the wrong block, join the blue concrete down to the ground, and we want to do the same with all of the legs of the blue concrete, so just like this. We then want to extend the blue concretes up by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the exact same thing for each one of the 4 corners. And wants to look like that. We're going to add oak fence on the sides, pretty much just the left and the back side with the oak fence. We then want to join the blue concretes together here using red concrete. Place red concrete along the outside of the top of this, like so. Place red concrete on top of the original blue and red concrete, and then yellow concrete, fill the top of it in. So that's looking pretty good, right? So this is where we are so far. The next thing we have to do is make a tunnel of all things. So the tunnel is shaped like this, and it uses a bit of glass as well, but we'll start off by placing the concrete. We start off with a lime concrete here, extending out from the middle of this yellow area. We then want to place lime on top of the ends of these yellow, 1, 2, and then above and inside the middle. Now, the lime concrete on the bottom wants to be 11 rows long, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The sides of it are going to be lime stained glass block, so we're going to do this on the front and the back. We also want to place lime on the top, just like this. And then we will extend the lime inwards. We'll place lime on the ends of the sides here. We then want to place yellow underneath the bottom, extend left and right. Blue concrete on the left and right. Extend the blue concrete up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Extend the blue and the yellow across by 1 and I want to say 2. We'll make it 3 if it's not 3 already. We'll make it 3. And then we want to place blue concretes on the end, yellow concrete in between, and then blue concretes extending up from the corners, extending up. Fence across the back. A fence on the sides here on the front. And then we'll actually leave the right side alone. But anyway, we also want to connect the blue concretes down to the ground. So this shouldn't be too difficult. Here. Here. And then we want to place red concrete in between the blue. And then red concrete on the outside. Just like this. Extend the edge of this up. We then want to place yellow concrete in the top. And that will give us this, which is looking pretty good. So the next thing that we'll do is we'll just take the top here. And we'll place maybe a couple of blue concretes. Yeah, blue concrete's pretty good. So the idea is we want to extend a row of blue concrete from the top here, extend it out, and we want to join a row of polished black stone wall down to the ground to look like a fireman's pole that you can just like slide down, and something that I've fell off of many a time in my time. So now that we have done that, we are going to work on a little slide. But we're going to make it a water slide so it actually works. But it's just meant to be a regular slide. So we're going to grab yellow concrete. And we want to take the corner here on the right side. The first yellow concrete we extend to the right by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then back. 1, 2, 3. Down 3. 1, 2, 3. And then across by 3. 1, 2, 3. Forwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we simply want to join it down, forwards, down, forwards. So as easy as that, really. We then want to place red concrete on the sides of the yellow concrete. And okay, so this is kind of tricky. It might be easier to do it on the outside first. We want to place the red concrete in such a way that the yellow concrete, like, okay. So this takes a little bit of thinking about. So basically, we want to place it in such a way, as I've mentioned, that this is a slide, right? So the idea is that the water, and we'll have like a stairs here or something to stop backflow, but we'll have water here, and this is the part of the slide that we will slide down. So that means that we want to have red concrete extending forwards like this. There we go. I got a little bit confused there, but it makes sense when you actually like go down the yellow concrete. And it's like, oh, okay, this is how it works. But I'll show you in just a second. So we'll dig that out. Okay, perfect. So if we start from the top here, you can see how it's placed. So the idea is that red concrete is above and outside the yellow. We come this way, turn this way, fall down, come this way forwards, drop, 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 then we end here. So we can actually place the water because we have water buckets. So we'll place water here, and that should... Actually, no, it doesn't take it. So if I fill it up to here, drops, extends there, drops, drops, drops into that hole, that's perfect. And then that way, let's have a little go. So you do have to kind of like, you know, work your way over to here, but after a second, the water will take you. You will fall down here, and honestly, it's quite a satisfying little water slide, and you do eventually, it's kind of slow, but you do eventually end up where you're supposed to be. Okay, next couple of things that we can just do. So we need end rods, oak trapdoors, chains. So the chains are for the, actually, first of all, end rods, yeah? These are for the monkey bars, that's what these are. I don't know if I've even said that yet, but these are monkey bars. And you guys know how monkey bars work. You've got bars, you swing in between them, like a monkey, and there you go. Simple as that. Also, something that I've hurt myself on multiple times. Hashtag, parks are not for me. But, that's all there is to it. The only thing that you might want to do is maybe destroy every other end rod. So you might like it like that, so that it's a little bit more spaced out. It's not functional regardless, but it's a little bit more spaced out. If you want to actually be able to get up onto here, you're going to need a ladder. So that's something I actually forgot. I'm sure that's the first of many. So that's just decorative, but if you place ladders here, you can actually start. And then everything else actually does work. You can get up and down. The fireman's pole, obviously, you're just going to have a bit of a fall, but what can you do? These are swings, so if we leave a gap of one on this right side and have a couple of chains extended down next to each other, so gap, couple of chains extended down next to each other, we then want to have oak trapdoors underneath the chains, like this. Perfect, so that just looks like a good old regular swing set. So now that we have done that, we have the rest of the park to contend with. Okay, so the next part of the playground that we are going to make is the merry-go-round. So that is going to be made using yellow concrete, light blue concrete. We will need the red nether brick wall, birch fence gate, and also the smooth quartz slab. In addition to that, we'll next be making a sand pit, so that's smooth stone slab, sand, and we might even include a bit of water, but we'll definitely include like sandstone wall, and we will even need, there's a bunch of there's a bunch of extras that we can grab as well, like we can grab parts, sandstone slabs, and some other stuff as well. But let's start off by coming all the way to the end of the monkey bars here. Let's leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, and in this fourth block, we are going to place a quartz slab, or a smooth quartz slab. Extend it backwards or down, 1, 2, and then place to the right of the ends, light blue concrete, yellow concrete in the middle, extend the yellow concrete right 2, take the middle block, extend it down and up, light blue concrete up and down, just like this, so we have like a yellow plus with light blue on the corners, smooth quartz slab all the way around the edge of our square, red nether brick wall in the middle, open birch fence gates all the way around the center. Very simple merry-go-round, roundabout as some might call it, it's up to you. Looks pretty good. Then leaving a gap of 3 from the end of this smooth quartz slab here. So we'll leave a gap of 1, 2, 3. On this 4th block, we want to place a smooth stone slab, extend it up, place 2 back and right placed smooth stone slabs, so like as if you're looking down, 2 upright diagonals, 1, 2, extend right by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to extend forwards and right, 2 bottom right diagonals, 1, 2. Extend down by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we want to place 2 bottom left diagonals, 1, 2. Left by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 up left diagonals, 1, 2. And then join up, just like this. Then we're going to fill the center of this in using sand, and I'm going to be a bit messy about destroying all of the blocks inside because this sand pit, we're just going to make it a little bit messy. So let's place some sand in it, and then we'll just fill like literally the top layer in using sand. So however that ends up, if there's a bunch of holes and stuff, then that's perfectly fine. We want it to, I kind of want it to look a little bit natural, so we'll just have like a bunch of holes in the sand pit. We'll refine it, maybe have some larger shapes just like this. We can have a little, let's destroy these, replace this with sand. We can have a little sand castle, so that can simply just be 4 sandstone walls next to each other. A flower pot or 2 to act like a bucket. You can even use some sandstone slabs to kind of like just pile up sand in certain places, if you like. And that looks pretty good. Something that you can do, and the inventory is going to be getting incredibly messy very shortly, but you can grab shovels, and of course if you just place, I mean invisible item frames would be better, but what can you do? A shovel or 2, and then you've got like a pretty nice looking sand pit, and that's pretty much the entire that's pretty much the entire part of this playground complete. There's not really anything else to this upper part right here, but what we do have is a lower part down here. So something that I'm actually going to do just quite quickly is we want to the right of the, where's the sand? So, to the right of the playground, in between this path, this all wants to be sand, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows of sand, okay? So then, this row of 9 sand will get extended forwards until it sits in front of it basically then just sits in between this, it doesn't sit in between the path, that's completely wrong. But it sits in front of the playground 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, okay? So in front of the actual edge, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 9 rows that way, 4 rows this way, extend, join them together in a corner, and I'm just going to turn this all into sand, so on both sides. And I'll just do this rather quickly. I don't think that there's any need to make it more complicated than it has to be. So that looks pretty cool, right? So we've got a bit of sand all the way around there. Now, we aren't quite finished with the park exactly. There's a couple of things just down here on this sand portion as well. Okay, so on the right side of the park area, and this doesn't have to be precise by the way, somewhere around towards the end of this sand pit here, and leave a gap or 2 between the park itself, and we want to start off by placing 2 prismarine bricks on top of each other, so 1, 2, 1, 2, so 2 prismarine bricks on top of each other. I'm using slabs to save room. We then want to place a stair on top, upside down one behind, stair on top, upside down one behind, prismarine brick slab on top, extend across by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to place underneath this an upside down brick, a prismarine brick stair, one on the outside. We then want to place another upside down one on the outside, and then join it to the floor using prismarine brick slabs. We then want to leave a gap of 1 and do literally the same thing. So I'll place this here, and this is, it's kind of like monkey bars, but it's like those monkey bars that you can kind of like also climb on the outside of, if that makes sense. I'm sure that you guys know what I'm talking about. And in between the tops here, we just want to place some, well, bars in the form of end rods, and also just on the sides here as well. I mean, you could place it so that there's like one at the bottom and then one at the top if you wanted to, or you could just have like a bunch up the side and then like just at the top. I mean, we can actually just place it all the way up in between. And I mean, whilst we can't climb, it looks as though we can. And if you do want to be a bit sneaky about it, then of course we can just place some ladders on the back, and then it looks as though that you can actually play on this and jump in between it and such. So that's kind of fun. Okay, next we want to have a seesaw. So a seesaw is going to be placed, again, it's a little bit random, maybe towards like the end of the sandpit again, leave a gap or two between the playground, and basically we want to start off by having an upside down, two back-to-back upside down prismarine stairs. Then we want to have open, see they want to be the other way, so we want to have, no, why can't I get that right? Was it? Okay, there we go. So we want to have open birch fence gates on top of them, kind of like facing outwards like this. And we're going to then, what do I want them? Or do I actually want them like placed so that they kind of face into each other? I might like that better. Or you could, it is honestly so inconsequential. Anyway, the idea is we then want to have a couple of carpets either side suspended in the air using the power of string. And that's all there is to it, pretty much. So, got a seesaw, we've got kind of like another climbing frame, we've got a pretty cool playground. All we need is some benches. So, the benches are rather easy, but a little bit tedious, I will say this. So, the benches are made using oak fence, oak slab, and oak sides. So, you don't have to space these out in a particular fashion, but I am going to. So like from the corner here, I'm going to leave a gap of one, couple of oak slabs on the ground, 2x2 oak fence extending this way, oak slabs on the end. I'm going to leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do the same thing. Or maybe actually, so it doesn't seem, so if we shift these over a bit, so I don't want it to be too close to the climbing frame, basically. I want there to be a gap of 1, 2, 3 in between each set of benches. Like this. That's perfect. So, we've got the oak fence. Oh, we also need the oak pressure plate. So, oak pressure plate goes on top of the oak fence. And you can kind of leave it like this, or I actually prefer to have oak sides on the sides of the seats. Like this. And I'll just build all of these in masses, just to make it nice and fast. Like so. Perfect. So this is how the benches look. We can then leave a gap in between them. So like these things take up 2 rows in total. So like if we leave a gap of 2 and then place a row of 2 here, then we can have the same set of benches. There's always like a bunch of benches and or seats like around these places. So we can set these up. You can make them out of different materials if you want as well. You can make them in a different fashion. You can give them different tabletops. You might not like the oak pressure plates, but I mean, you guys have probably sat at a picnic bench before, right? Like they have like those slats of wood, so there is like space in between them. So actually looks kind of good, to be honest with you. The only thing is you can't place anything on them, which is a shame. We can have a couple more of them as well. We might even just, like, you could place one here, but it's kind of in the way. So like, why don't we just go for one? And yeah, we'll just have like one up here, and that'll be fine. Like, feel free to change them, like change the position. Like, you don't have to have them have as many as I do, or in the same places even. So, you know, change it up, chop and change until you're happy with it. That is my best suggestion. And let's just take a look. Let's see if that looks any good. It certainly does. You could even place more over towards the back there, and I might a little bit later on. Maybe I'll just place one. I'll just place one more, just over by its lonesome. So, you know, just, it doesn't really feel, it's went to the park. It doesn't really feel like interacting with anybody else. Kind of just wants to sit there in the sunshine, out of the way. Birds chirping, green grass, etc. But it doesn't want company. That's what this bench is about. So I think that'll look pretty good by itself. I don't want to litter it, but that looks pretty good, right? So something else that you can add around the park in general, quite honestly, but I want to make one now because we're kind of like wrapping this area up in general. A bin. So loom, green shulker box, black banner, couple of green die. So loom on the ground, open it up, black banner in there, green dye, we are going to first of all add a center row of, no, what will we do? We'll make the lower half of the banner green. Grab that, put that back in. We will then make the outer edge of the banner green. Grab that, put that back in. And then we're going to throw a shulker box in between these two picnic benches. That did not work out correctly. Hang on. One more green dye. I thought that would work. Maybe we may also have to add a green dye through the middle as well. That might... Okay, so you probably don't even have to bother making the bottom half of the banner green. But we do want to add a bottom row. There we go. That's a lot better there. There we go. That is a lot better. And there we go. That's just like a nice big open bin. And we can place one here. We can place one over here as well. Like, you can place as many or as little as you like. Something that you might like as well is to place a polished blackstone pressure plate on top of them too. You might think that that looks quite good. Again, chop and change. Make it look how you want. Maybe we'll even place one over by the Lonely Bench. Sounds like a good album name, The Lonely Bench. Anyway, so we want to have something which should look like this. So and I'm quite happy with that. That looks pretty good. I did also kind of want to shave off the sand here a little bit as well. Like, I wanted to make it so that the sand kind of like turned into a bit of a curve. But I don't know if this is going to look a little bit weird now because we've kind of got the benches here. The only reason that I say that is because, like, I was going to... I think there's over here as well. Like, I've always not got the materials that I want, but I kind of wanted to have a grass area here, kind of like a nice mowed grass, to kind of like just contrast the little football pitch and such. But basically, this area here, we're going to leave gaps of... So if we start from the end, we're going to have gaps of 3, or rows of 3 terracotta, green terracotta. 1, 2, 3. Lime terracotta, green terracotta. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go, perfect. And then that evens out perfectly. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch the green terracottas over horizontally, and then I will replace the grass using lime terracotta. That's perfect, and what we can also do is just fill this little remaining area in here using smooth stone, and that will look pretty good as well. And in doing that, we have made, like, this is a really cool part of the park. It's one of the more complicated parts as well. Okay, so for the next part of this, we are going to make the football pitch, because it's just right next to the park, and it's also it's a nice little break, honestly, from making something quite so complicated. So, I want you to start all the way up in this corner here where we have the grass. We want to count inwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on top of this 5th block, destroy it, replace it with a lime terracotta, and then extend inwards by 17. You can even destroy as you go along, actually, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Replace all that with lime terracotta. We'll have to do it later anyway. Okay, perfect. Well, on top of this 17th lime terracotta here, we want to place 2 diorite walls. 1, 2. And then on top of this is a little bit tricky without a little bit of help. We want to place an upside down smooth quartz stair, extend across by 5 using smooth quartz slabs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, upside down smooth quartz stair on the end, join down using diorite wall. We then want to place smooth quartz stair behind the stair, and then we want to place cobweb underneath the stair, smooth quartz stair on the outside, cobweb underneath the stair, fill in between, smooth quartz stair behind the cobweb, and then what we will do is join the cobweb together at the back in between the stairs. We want to do this coming all the way up, and that is going to be the netting for the net. So this is what the net will look like. We want to have lime terracotta underneath the net as well, just like this. And then we want to extend the lime terracotta all the way across until the lime terracotta is 5 rows away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the edge of the field. And that's what we're doing with the lime terracotta. So, we want to do that, this exact same thing, right? All the way over on the opposite end of the pitch as well. So, if we come all the way over, it's not really a pitch, I guess it's a field. But anyway, regardless, which I guess a pitch, it doesn't matter. Like, we're talking about semantics here. So, from this corner, we find the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th block in, destroy it, replace it with terracotta, extend inwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I hope I counted that correctly. Mumbled up some numbers there at the end, but we want to extend it inwards by 17. We can see in a second here. And then we want to make an identical, goal net. So, upside down stair, extend it across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, using the smooth quartz slabs. Upside down smooth quartz stair on the end. Join it down to the ground using fence. Smooth quartz stair in between or behind the upside down. We then want to place webbing joining to the ground, extend the bottom one backwards. Smooth quartz stair on top and behind the cobweb. Join it together at the back. And then we just want to pretty much just join all of the stairs together at the back using cobwebs. And I think that that lines up. If not, there's going to be a problem. But, oh, we also, of course, have to extend the lime terracotta across. It might not make sense to do it in between the net as well, because you would imagine that that grass is quite scuffed. But we're looking for more of a look rather than realism anyway. So we start 5 rows away from the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here. And then we have lime terracotta. So, that's perfect. Before we get to the annoying bit, we are going to play... Oh, there's an annoying bit, alright. Before we get to that, we are going to place a few benches and a couple of bins as well. So, on the sidelines over here, we're going to have a few benches. So, these, the first one coincides with this row of terracotta here that splits the two courts up. Leave a gap of 1, spruce stair, 1 either side of it, spruce sign on each end like this. Then we want to leave a reasonable gap. Like, you don't have to count this out at all, but you can maybe like, I don't know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Leave a gap of 11 and then on the 12th block 1, 2, 3 and then spruce signs on the end, right? Something like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then extending inwards, leave a gap of 1, and then place another bin, which is something that we still have the materials for. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then on this 12th block, 1, 2, 3 stairs, leave a gap of 1. We'll place the bin first, why not? Here, here, stairs on the side, here, and here. And then that should look pretty decent, right? I mean, that doesn't look too bad. I mean, from the sky, especially from the edge, I mean, I'm quite happy with that. So, this next part is definitely not fun in any sort of way. And what we're going to do is place rows of lime terracotta extending across the pitch from this path. And they want to be equal and level to the lime terracottas that we have already. And they want to be split 3 rows apart. So 1, 2, 3, lime terracotta, 1, 2, 3, lime terracotta, so on and so forth until we have a bunch of nicely mowed lines for our football pitch. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Not fun. I hope that you guys have world at it. And now that you have done that, ladies and gentlemen, once the soccer pitch has been freshly mowed using World Edit, we can now head over to the tennis court. So, or court, sir, I should say. So for the tennis court, we are going to need white concrete, lime terracotta, orange terracotta, diorite wall, white stained glass paint, and iron bars. Maybe even some other stuff that I forgot about, you know what I'm like. So, the next thing that we're going to do, now that we have all of our stuff, is we are going to start in the corner here. We'll start in the bottom left-hand corner of the tennis court. And we want to place 2 inward diagonally placed orange terracottas extending in from the corner. So, this corner, this corner, this corner, and this corner, okay? Then we want to extend inwards an additional row, and we want to place a square / rectangle, more of a rectangle I think. We want to place a rectangle of white concrete that connects all of these orange terracottas together. So essentially, we want a big white rectangle, I think it is a rectangle, who cares? Big white rectangle / square sitting inside of 2 entire rows of orange terracotta that just goes all the way around the outside of it. So just like this. Perfect. So now that we've done that, we want to add 2 additional lights. So on the, say, the front and the back end of the court here, we want to have 2 vertical rows, or 2 long rows, I shouldn't say vertical, 2 long rows of white concrete that are just 1 row away from the edge. So it just wants to leave an entire gap of 1 between the edge, and then we just want to have 2 parallel rows of white concrete. It looks quite nice, actually. What we then want to do is we want to add a few more rows of white concrete. So if you start on the left and right sides, you want to leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grass. In the 6th row, we want to destroy it, and we want to place rows of white concrete extending across the court here, so a row of 5. And then once again, we want to leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or sorry, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on the 6th block, we want to have the same thing. So just another row of white concrete extending across like this. I'm realizing that I don't think that these edges here actually want to have white concrete. I think that they are just long, empty rows, but I should probably check that out. But anyway, regardless, we then want to leave another gap of 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll just do it to the inside of the court. And on the 6th row, we want to destroy the 6th row, and we want to replace it using white concrete. It's an easy fix if I'm wrong, but we want to have something which should look like this. So you can see that we have all of these evenly divided spaces. And then, just for the center 2 rectangles here, we want to leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on this 9th block, we want to have a row of white concrete connecting in between them, like this. And then we want to make the net. So the net is going to be 2 diorite wall extending up in the middle of the court like this, with a row of white stained glass pane in between both sides. So just like so. Now, unfortunately, there's no like cool way to make like a racket or what have you. So we're kind of done after this. So you can see that this is what the court looks like. And I think that I'm just going to make sure that I know what the court looks like. Hang on. Okay, so it turns out that I was actually right about the court. We do not want to have any line here, so we want to leave these long lines uninterrupted. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make the outside of the court. I am going to make it orange terracotta. And I'm going to make the inside of the court lime terracotta. So you can even leave the entire court if you like orange terracotta. It actually looks quite nice as it is, but me myself, I just kind of want to have like a little bit of a contrast, because I do think it does look a little bit better. But you can have either way. You can just have like a monotone sort of thing, or a monochromatic, I suppose would be the actual word, but I think it looks good either way. My personal preference though is the lime. And then if you wanted to do stuff like, if you did want to kind of like try and make it look as though that there are tennis rackets and stuff kind of like about the court, then, you know, you've got things such as like item frames with iron shovels in them, and you've got things like buttons which kind of look like tennis balls. I mean, the warped button is probably the most tennis ball looking out of the buttons. We don't really have like a perfect thing. I guess an item frame with a lime concrete in it would look the best. And then all it is like we then just have to surround the core using iron bars. And I do keep kind of coming back to this, like it's kind of like a personal preference. Like if you'd like to keep both sides of the core like separate, then, you know, place iron bars in between the cores. But if you kind of want to keep it open so that you can go from one core to the other, then keep it open. I think that I am going to go with the more open style core because that's how I designed it in the first place. Or maybe I'll try both because I've got World Edit, it's quite easy just to take a little bit of a look. So let's just have a look. So this is kind of like the open, then you can imagine that we have this core here and then we'd have the same, or we can have like the line here. We kind of do need the other court though, and then we would need two separate entrances. So the entrances I'm just going to make them just here on the ends, like near the bench, and I'm just going to leave like a gap in the fence. So I can't really make a decision as to whether or not I want to keep these walled off without having the other tennis court. The thing about it is, all we have to do is literally copy what we have on this side, and we just have to repeat it one more time. So if you have trouble with kind of like just taking a glance over here and just repeating it over here, then that's completely fair enough. But I'm just going to world edit it over. If you need to refer back to a previous part of the video, then you feel free, just go back a few minutes and make sure that you do the exact same thing. But I am realizing after copying this over that I think I would prefer this to be open. So I'm actually going to get rid of the iron fence here. And I'm going to also turn the terracotta into orange terracotta. So I think that will look a lot better. There we go. I just prefer the more open nature of it. And yeah, that just looks so much better to me. And we can still keep the two separate entrances, like one in the middle and then one on the end, and that's kind of it for the tennis courts. Okay, so for the basketball courts, we're actually going to do something a little bit more differently than planned. So I'm going to come all the way over to this end court here. From the corner where we have the terracotta, I'm going to leave a gap of 1, 2 diagonally, and this third block I'm going to destroy it, place white concrete. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the end here, so just on the opposite side, 1, 2 diagonals. Third block is going to be white concrete. Now this is where the similarities end a little bit, so we are going to, from the inward corner here, we are going to leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, coming inward, so this third block, and then extend in 1, then we're going to place a white concrete. So 1, 2, 3, and then in 1. And we want to have the same thing over towards the front as well, but we can actually just start digging at this point. So the reason that we are doing this is so that we can just have the courts. Number one, I've changed the shape of them ever so slightly. So they're a little bit more to my liking this way, but I'm not going to separate them with the iron bars. I'm actually just going to, kind of like with the tennis courts, like I really do like how it's kind of like open. It feels a lot less restrictive, so we're going with the same sort of style here, and this is of course one of the basketball courts. So we just want to line all of these up. We'll start off with a big rectangle and then we can work from there. So let's start off with this. The next thing that we are going to do is on each end, the short ends, we're going to start from the corner. We're going to leave a gap of, we're going to first of all move inwards diagonally. We're going to leave a gap of 2, so 1, 2. And then we're going to destroy 1, 2, 3, 4. Replace this using white concrete. Extend inwards diagonally by 2. Do the same thing on the opposite side, so leave a gap of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Replace using white concrete. Inwards diagonally by 2, like this. We then want to join it together on both sides like so. So from one end to the other. Then we want to find the middle point. So we want to come to this end line here, and we want to find the middle point. Destroy it, replace it with red terracotta. Destroy left and right. Couple of rows in front, replace it all using red terracotta. That's perfect. We want to do the same thing on the opposite side, so we want to leave a gap of 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, inwards by 2 diagonally, gap of 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, inwards by 2 diagonally, join it all together. So we'll place white concrete just like this. Perfect. Then we're going to take the middle here, place red terracotta, left and right, extend out by a couple of rows, place red terracotta. That's looking pretty good. The next thing we want to do is find the halfway point. Now, I'm going to try and eyeball it, and then we can just count it out afterwards. I think that this is the center. I want to say that this is the center. If not, this is really unfortunate. So, the center line should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. 8 rows between the two semicircles on each side, and that's perfect. And then the center of the center, we want to destroy it, place red terracotta in there, all the way around, and then place red terracotta in there. If you like, you can even say place like an orange concrete here, and then this will, or shulker box, actually, shulker box looks quite good, right? And then this can be a basketball. Feel free to like tune it up using maybe some banners, or maybe even like a pressure plate or so, like something. But I think that actually looks just fine for just a shulker box. So the next thing that we have to do is make nets. The nets are on the ends of the end of the court, and we want to take the center point. We can either place them on the center or one row behind. I'm going to opt for one row behind, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3 black stone wall, polished black stone wall, I do believe, extending up from the ground. We're then going to stick a red terracotta, and then we want to place a cobweb. I do want to say, I'm pretty sure it's just a cobweb just directly in front. Smooth quartz slab, left and right of the top black stone wall. Extend some smooth quartz slabs up. Actually, we'll drop the webbing. So smooth quartz slabs on the left and right, extend it up and over the terracotta, and then oak signs around the edge of the net. You could even drop the net like another row, but I actually think that that looks pretty good. And we want to do this on the other side as well. So middle, one row back, 1, 2, 3, terracotta, cobweb in front of the terracotta, I do believe. Yep. Then smooth quartz slab left and right of the blackstone wall, extend it over and down. Place yourself some signs on the end or the edge of the webbing like this, and then that's looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some iron bars around the edge of this. I'm going to add them in the same fashion as I did the tennis court. So I'm just using a little bit of world edit for this, ladies and gentlemen. But if you do not have the luxury, then we just want to set some iron bars. Or place some iron bars instead of set. I'm saying set because that's the command for them. But we want to place them all the way around the edge, and it'll look pretty good. So now that we've done that for the court now, we want the outside of the court to be cyan terracotta. No, we want it to be stone, actually. Do we want the entire outside? Oh, I think that we're just going to make the entire, like all of the grass now, we're just going to make it stone. So if we just replace that with stone, and it'd be cool if we could like spell it properly, you know? That looks really good. I'm going to get rid of the center line here, so we don't need to have. We could keep the center line. Nah, we won't keep the center line because I actually think it'll look better without it. And then all we have to do is quite literally just copy one side of the court onto the opposite side of the court. So with world edit or not, we've kind of got to make that happen, ladies and gentlemen. We're simply just going to copy. We just want to have two versions of this exact same thing. So if need be, I do recommend just copying the previous part of the video. You may not have copy and paste like I do, but regardless, we do want to have the same thing. We are going to get rid of this fence, though. That is something that I did not anticipate. And we've just got to put a wall back up there, but honestly, it is a lot easier than making all of that from scratch. We do also have to add a couple of entrances. So I'll just make it sort of similar to the tennis courts. I'll just have two entrances, just one on the left and one all the way over on the right. Not going to have entrances on the outside. Just repair this wall here and everything will be good. So that's, and honestly, I mean, that just, to me, that looks so much better. Like, it just looks so much better having all of this, like, just open. It just looks a lot less restrictive. It looks a lot less like a prison. Also, just on the outside of the courts here, like both of them, like joining together, I'm just going to place a bunch of smooth stone. So this is just going to be the pathway in between the two courts, so here. And I'm also going to have a path that would lead out to, theoretically, lead out to somewhere. Or, I mean, you don't have to have this, but the idea is that, like, this is accessible, right? So, like, maybe this path, like, leads to a street or somewhere, or maybe into a cul-de-sac or a suburbs or wherever, and you can access it there. You could put, like, you can just connect it to your neighborhood or wherever you plan on putting this in a multitude of ways. So we have all of the courts sorted out. We've got all of the sporty related things. We've got the playground. The next thing that we are going to do now that we have completed that is we are going to get to work on the ice cream stand. So this is pretty cool. I like this a lot, but it requires a lot of material. Okay, so to start off the ice cream stand, we're just going to start off with a bit of pink concrete, some white concrete, and some birch fence, just to start off easy. So we want to come to the, well, kind of like the beginning of the park area, where we have the two smooth stone and then this terracotta wall. Well, we want to leave a gap of 2, and then we want to place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pink concrete extending across the back here. The pink concrete wants to then get extended upwards 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. So just up the back, like so. Get all of these rows filled in. Perfect. We're then going to extend the top forwards by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And, well, all of these also want to get filled in, of course, with the pink concrete. And once we have done that, we want to extend the sides underneath forwards. So on the left and right, we want to extend the sides forwards, join them together at the front. At the back, we want to extend the sides down as well on the left and right, and then extend forwards by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend inwards on both sides, 1, 2, 1, 2. So after extending in these sides each by 2, we place upside down smooth quartz stairs in between. White stained glass pane on top of these stairs. Then left of this, we want to stack 2 rows of white concrete next to the glass extending upwards. Then on the sides here, well, on the 2 front corners, we can actually place 2 end rods joining the top and the bottom of the stand together. And we want to place a smooth quartz stair here as well on the right side to give us this. We also want to make the sign itself the sign for the stand. So in front of the pink concrete here, we want to have 1, 2, 3 white concretes like this, so stacked on top of each other, 2 rows. A gap of 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white concretes, just stacked on top of each other. Then on the side, we essentially want to fill the entire left side in, except we want to leave an entrance. So wherever you want to leave that is kind of up to you, but I'd probably leave it more so towards the middle. And behind this area here, we'll probably just fill this in using white concrete like this. Then across the back of the stand, we want to join the top and the bottom together using light grey concrete like this. And we want to have 2 rows of it, so 2 rows of light grey concrete extending forwards. We are then going to leave a gap of, actually, then across the back, we want to place 1, 2, 3 white concretes, and then we want to have light grey concrete, extend it up, and then a row forwards. Across the back, 2 white concretes. Upside down, smooth quartz stair in front of the white concrete. And then we want to place white concrete in rows of 2 on top of the back row. Then, on top of the left side here, we want to have a brown, yellow, and then a pink concrete. And then on the right side here, we want to have a light blue and then a red. And we're going to, actually, as a matter of fact, we'll extend the brown, yellow, and the pink outwards. And we will take red and light blue glass and place the equivalent glass in front of the concretes. I think that we might also extend the pink concrete forwards a bit. So the thing about this is we could extend into the wall, like because the wall covers the back of the stand, if we wanted a bit more room, we could actually like extend all of this a row backwards, but I think it's actually fine as it is. So this is going to be the ice cream side of the stand, and we're going to need some pointed dripstone to look like cones, tripwire hooks, leather, some flower pots. We could, for the right side, use candles. Now this is if you want some extra materials. So on the left side here, we want to have like a leather, a couple of tripwire hooks along the top, and then we want to have a series of cones underneath. You could even include a tub if you like, if you are a tub person. Then for the slushy machine, we'll have levers, just 2 levers, and then underneath the left side here, we'll have a blue candle, and underneath the right, we will have a red candle, just like this. So it's looking pretty good. It's looking quite colourful inside here. Towards the front of the stand here, we'll just have a few. Actually, yeah, we can make them a bit bigger so they're visible. So, we can actually. First, let's just add a row of pink concrete, and then we'll add dripstone just above where the cauldrons are going to go, because we want to place a set of 3 cauldrons behind the upside down stairs, and then we want to have carpet on top of the cauldrons, so corresponding with kind of like the Neapolitan, so kind of like chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, or rather, I guess it's vanilla and the straw. I don't know what the order is, I'm going to be honest with you. I always eat it too fast to notice the actual order of the ice cream, but yeah, we're kind of going for a Neapolitan vibe. And in here as well, you might want to stuff like a double chest, and you can have like a couple of things just in here if you like. And we could even have some lighting in here as well, because it is quite dark. We could have a strip of lighting towards the front that wouldn't be too intrusive. Although then from the outside, you see this is the issue. So maybe we can, however, build it into the ceiling of this. So if we just make it even, because it's quite dark, isn't it? Or at least I think it is. I think it's a bit dark. So we can build it into the ceiling so that we can see a little bit better. And I'm a bit happier with that myself. And what we can also do is on the outside of the stand as well, we can have a few item frames, and we can have a few different things. So a few different like a choice of ice cream. So we can have this and this and this, and we can even have the slushies advertised. So this if we want. You know, just to make it kind of like a little bit more interesting to look at. There is an overhang as well, so that's made using birch fence, carpet, white carpet, and light blue carpet. In front of the front 2 corners, we'll leave a gap of 2, and then we'll have a set of 1, 2, 3 birch fence. So gap of 2, 1, 2, 3 birch fence. And then we want to have string between the fence, like this. And we'll have the same in between the end rods as well. We actually don't need string underneath the white concretes, but that's okay. So here, and then we want to have the carpet stacked like this. So it's going to be white and then light blue, and then what? I mean, you guys get the idea. Or you could alternate. You could have light blue, white, light blue. I'm glad that I placed it there now. So just in amongst the sign, that looks pretty good. On the side as well, I don't know why this seemed appropriate. I think I've actually got them in my chest. I don't know why it seemed appropriate, but it kind of did. And we've also got these sign materials as well, which we are going to need a little bit later. But I don't know where the rest of them have disappeared to. But I liked the idea of having just some kind of like plush toys on the end of the stand. I don't know why. It just kind of like seemed to like something that you might see at like the seaside or something, like a stand like this. I just thought it looked kind of cool. I just thought it kind of like put a nice finish on it. But regardless, I mean, the inside of the stand is pretty much almost done. We could make some additional banners, but we're getting into kind of like crazy town when we start making like multitudes of banners for this. I think it's going to be pretty self-explanatory when we actually make the proper written sign for this. So what we're going to do now is exactly that. So let's get rid of this. So we're going to make, literally, we're going to write ice cream on the stand. So we're going to open up a loom, place a white banner in there with some black dye, and we've got to make the first letter, which is going to be I. So I. Then we need to make C, so that's going to be horizontal row of black on the top and the bottom, vertical on the left, so that's C. Then we've got to make E, so a vertical row of black on the left, and then horizontal on the top, middle, and then bottom of the banner. Next would be C again, so we're just going to reuse that. So next it would then be R, so horizontal row of black on the top, then a diagonal row, top left corner to bottom right corner, and then a vertical row on the left. So that is ice, C, R. The next letter would then be E again, so we'll just reuse that. And then we have A, so that's going to be horizontal row across the top, through the middle, vertical row on the left, vertical row on the right. So A. Then we're going to have M. So we're going to have a black triangle at the top. Throw the black die out, put the white die in. Then we're going to have the bunch of white triangles at the top. Throw the white die out, put the black die in. Vertical row on the left and right to make M. So now suddenly we have like ice ram. But we can actually spell ice cream. So I, C, E, C, R, E, A, M. Ice cream. And then I think that perfectly solves it. And then like even from a distance, like I think that it just looks pretty good. And I'm pretty happy with the result of that. And of course you can like fill this little bit of grass in with stuff like maybe even picnic baskets and what have you. But I'm quite happy to kind of like, because this area is so busy and kind of like surrounded by stuff, I'm quite happy just to have like a nice open field, but you know, you can customize it how you like. So beyond this, ladies and gentlemen, you might be wondering to yourself like, what can we even do next? Well, let me tell you. So this is going to be a world edit / montage moment. So for the last part of this tutorial, we simply just have to add a bit of nature to the build. On the side of the park where we already have some podzol laid out in a long, thin strip, we want to fill that area in with podzol, trees, bushes, grass, moss, azaleas. We want to have stone pressure plates. We want to have stone buttons. Behind it, we are going to have a dark oak fence just to kind of separate everything. And after that has been done, we are going to be doing a very similar thing on the opposite side of the park as well. Surrounding the tennis courts, we are going to have a nice, luscious, green foresty area. So it's going to be the same thing. We're going to use oak trees, spruce trees, birch trees in a nice even mixture, hopefully quite close together. They will be built on a foundation of podzol, and in amongst that grass, bushes, moss, stone buttons, stone pressure plates, just to emulate kind of like a nice foresty floor. And once all of that has been done, we will be left hopefully with a nice finished park that kind of has a little bit of everything. And that is the park fully complete, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please do remember to subscribe to the channel, click that little bell next to the subscription button, that'll ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. If you are interested in Stream City, as you can see, my park has been rightfully restored to its usual place in it. Channel members are given fresh, brand new download links every single time Stream City is updated. You can find those download links in the members only community posts. Java edition only. You could probably try and convert it. I wouldn't recommend it. I've done that before. It doesn't usually work out well. But channel members are given fresh brand new download links to the Java edition only of Stream City. So if that's something you're interested in, you may want to become a channel member, or if you are already a channel member and you're unaware of that perk, well, there you go. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.